Guys, I've been an avid supporter on here, and I've told you guys over and over again, the war against the cartel is not going to end well. They are just too deeply entrenched within the United States, right? They have something that the United States citizens want, and that is drugs. And until we get rid of the need and the want and the demand for drugs, cartel's not going anywhere, right? I found a clip that I want to share with you guys talking about a kill house that was found in small town USA, and also the corruption that's behind the cartel operations going on within the United States. Let's check out this clip.
Let me interject here real quick. I got a couple of super chats on the Cash App from someone named Adam Shadoff trying to bash my friend's coffee company, which is not good. Apparently he is offended because the coffee is called Dark Arts. Well, let me tell you something, dude. Dark Arts, if you would have watched the live stream on Sunday, the Dark Arts is spycraft, okay? So pull your panties out of your wad. That's what it refers to. And it's a coffee cup. You're looking down at the coffee because 99% of the world doesn't have handles on the coffee. If you want to look at something as a conspiracy, go for it. But before you do that, let me show you this. You don't go for my friends or family. I'll come for you. I'll ban your ass so fast you won't even know what happened. Globally sourced, mission ready. Good friend of mine, J. Dorleus, retired Green Beret. He's from Haiti. He was in New York City as a 13-year-old kid when the Twin Towers went down. 6 out of his 7 siblings have served this country. And he's got a foundation now. And if you notice, all the names of the coffee have something to do with a spy process. Dead drop, honeypot, brush pass, cold bump. If you knew anything, you'd know what he was talking about. He was on here talking about this very thing. Let me show you something else that the guy does. Okay? Look at this one. Dark Arts Coffee Foundation. He helps veterans get into housing and get veterans off the street. Okay? So if you want to make your $2 donations on Cash App and try to insult someone, you insulted the wrong frickin' guy. Jay Dorleus is a damn good dude. Dark Arts Coffee Foundation.
Oh God, it was a crazy, crazy story. They got a call from a guy who owns a cottage in the woods and rents it on Airbnb. And they got a call, 911 got a call from this guy saying, I have my surveillance cameras outside my house, my Airbnb, and I'm seeing they're bringing in like a body into my Airbnb rental. And
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. It's insane. And the police, the local police went there and realized that there was something bigger that happening, because basically they brought in the body and then left with bags or something that was suspicious to the owner of this Airbnb rental.
And that's wild, guys, because I've owned Airbnbs, and the messed up thing about it is, like, on my Airbnbs, I didn't have cameras, right? I didn't have any of that because it violates Airbnb policy, right? And it intrudes on the actual guests. So let's think about it. Most of the places on the Airbnb platforms don't have cameras. This one just happened to have it. Just think about all the other houses that these guys are probably doing this at that the law enforcement agencies are not catching. It blows my mind just the level of planning that goes into these type of operations. Let's keep listening.
And the police was called, and then eventually the FBI was called, or the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, were called. And what they found was that there was this woman who, the leader of this cartel cell in Georgia, she was a drug distributor for them, and that the leader believed that she was skimming money from him. And so they had called her into this house, and they had tortured her in a bathtub. They had cut off her, I think it was a chainsaw, cut off parts of her body. They had used pliers to cut off her fingers. But they had done a really good job of cleaning it all out. So they couldn't find any evidence that this had happened, but they knew something had happened here. So it was this agent that when they started looking inside, they decided to open the drain for the bathtub. And
just think about the level of cruelty that had to take place there. And just think about the type of human being you gotta be to torture and dismember somebody because you think they're stealing money from you. Right? You do all that just so you can get an answer. Right? This is the type of individuals that we're dealing with. These are the type of individuals that is within the United States running this operation. It just blows my mind. Let's keep listening.
And again, this is like small town America with a cell that's sort of connected to the cartel. So yeah, this is unfortunately happening all across the U.S.
Would you say they have presence in all 50 states?
I would say yes, absolutely. I mean, they, through our reporting, finding out that everywhere. I mean, we spoke to sources that had presence in Alaska or that talked about operations. And
so again, guys, this really, pisses me off because again, we talk about this topic over and over again, and we've been talking about it for years now about the cartel and their operations within the United States. They have presence within all 50 states. Why? Right? Like, that's the question we should be asking ourselves. Why do they have presence in all 50 states? And it's because within all 50 states, people want drugs and they're just supplying that drug. They're not out here dismembering people and fucking people up just because, right? They're running a business. They're supplying drugs. People are double crossing them and they're fucking them up, right? And we got to think about this, guys. The best way to get rid of this operation, the best way to get rid of these type of operations, the best way to get rid of these people within the United States is to fix the drug problem. It's to keep American citizens from wanting drugs. If you can't fix that, we're going to be fighting the cartel for years and years to come. And that battle will never be won. Because just when we think we get rid of them, where are the drug addicts? Where are the drug fiends going to get their drug from? They're just going to find another supplier, right? We're not fixing the underlying issue here, which is the American citizens wanting drugs. We're showcasing how the cartel is fucked up and they're doing all this stuff. And we're building a case, we're building a narrative to go hunt these dudes down, not understanding that unless we fix the bottom issue, that someone else is just going to step in and fill that gap. Someone's going to become that supplier. Somebody's going to fill that demand. Until we fix the underlying issue, this is all theatrics, right? This is all a shit show. Let's keep watching.
Yeah, it was wild. I didn't expect it. And I think to me, a couple of other things that were really shocking in that story was, first of all, we interviewed a guy who was American, El Gringo, who goes by the name of El Gringo, obviously not his real nickname, but he's American, born and raised in the U.S., doesn't even speak Spanish, and is one of the biggest distributors for the cartel here in the United States. And for me, that was shocking. And he told me that that is actually quite common.
And that's something else that I've heard a lot of, guys. The decision makers, the people that actually run the cartel, the people that are like the head honchos, they probably never step foot within the United States, right? They don't have to. They're stashed up somewhere, wherever, and they have white dudes from freaking Nebraska, from Georgia, running distribution rings, all right? Whenever they get rolled up, guess who gets rolled up? That dude, that American citizen, all right? And then guess what? They find somebody else, and it just continues. It just keeps going, right? And then here we are spinning our wheels trying to figure out how to stop this. And again, I'll say it, unless you tackle the actual demand, unless you get freaking American citizens, unless you can get college kids to stop snorting freaking coke, nothing's going to get fixed, guys. Nothing's going to happen. All right. And mark my words, 3, 4, 5 years from now, we're going to be having the same freaking conversation.
They use a lot of American citizens to distribute their drugs. So to me, that was surprising. I didn't know that was. I knew that obviously they work with some collaboration from Americans, but I didn't know it was so widespread. And then the other thing was that the corruption angle and the agents from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation spoke to me about this. A bunch of different law enforcement groups I've spoken to have talked about this. But there is so much money that we're talking about, right? It's the drug business alone. It's estimated at over $600 billion a year, billion. So, and the cartel is making, billions of dollars from this illegal trade. And when you're talking about this much money, it's easy, unfortunately, to corrupt people, But and you know, we're talking about border patrol, we're talking about small town sheriffs, but we're talking about federal agencies as well. And that was the scariest part.
Guys, I will link this clip in the pinned comment so you guys can go check it out. But guys, it's a story as old as time. Person A wants some drugs. Person B supplies that drugs. Person A wants some drugs. Person B is killed. Guess what? Person C is going to supply that drug, right? Person A wants some drugs. Person C is killed. Person D is going to supply that drug. And everything in between, the individual that's actually going to Mexico, getting it, the distributor, right? The corrupt politicians, the corrupt police officers, the corrupt federal agents. It's always going to happen as long as there's a vehicle to make money, meaning you get person A whatever they want, they're going to pay whatever money you ask them, right? Unless you take care of person A and their craving and their need for that drug, guess what? They're going to keep wanting it. In the $600 billion industry, guys, $600 billion. You think that freaking type of operation, that type of company is just going to fold? You don't think they have spider webs everywhere, right? Again, guys, I think it's easier for us to target person A and start targeting that demand instead of focusing on the apparatus, on the monster that is that $6 billion company, that $6 billion industry, right? Trying to take that down as opposed to just start targeting individuals and teaching them and telling them how fucked up drug is for them. Let me know what you guys think about this one, guys. Again, check out the full episode in the pinned comment. I'll link it. Now let's transition into how to effectively destroy your career, right? I got a clip here from a captain in the military telling soldiers not to listen to orders. We'll take a listen to the clip. I'll give you guys my 2 cents throughout. Let's take a listen.
My name is Captain Dylan Blaha, and this message is for all U.S. military service members.
All right, so when you start this thing off, again, this is a video that I found on TikTok. When you start this video off stating your rank, my name is Captain such and such, and you tell them where you work, guys, you are essentially talking to service members, right? You are essentially telling what to do. Hey, I'm Captain such and such, as if you're delivering a message from the Department of War itself, right? That's what the initial beginning of this video sounds like. Let's keep listening.
Especially every general and admiral meeting with Pete Hegseth on Tuesday. I'm a 13-year U.S. Army veteran who served in Afghanistan and wrote war plans while stationed at U.S. Army Europe.
On top of that, you've given them your bona fides. You've given them your credentials. My name is Captain such and such. I'm talking to General such and such. This is my background. This is what I've done. You're establishing credibility, right? Because you're trying to have a certain type of impact on service members, okay? That's what you're trying to do here. And again, we're going to keep letting this play because I want to showcase to you like how this can be bad, how this can end up ending your career as a soldier within the United States military.
This morning, Donald Trump directed Pete Hegseth to deploy the U.S. military to Portland, Oregon. This is the latest illegal attempt to normalize the use of the military in U.S. cities. He authorized the military to use, quote, full force. This is authoritarianism. This is fascism. The U.S. military is not a law enforcement force, and all federalized service members must abide by the Pasa Comitatus Act. All members of the United States military must disobey illegal orders.
All right, guys, I need you guys to understand something. As I'm listening to this video, I want to share with you guys, the military is a dictatorship. You signed up on that dotted line, all right? When your superiors give you orders, you follow them. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're on the right. I don't care if you're in the middle. Doesn't matter. Politics needs to be removed from the military, right? The commander-in-chief tells you what to do, you execute, all right? There's no room for interpretation there. And what this captain is doing is telling people that they can disobey the orders of the officers appointed over them, of the president, of the Secretary of Defense. That is the fastest way to end your career ever. I also need you guys to understand, when it comes to enlisted soldiers and officers, there's a difference, right? This captain probably doesn't have shit to lose. Yet he's on here telling lower enlisteds, telling soldiers that they need to disobey the orders of the officers appointed over them. As a private, as a specialist, as an E5, as an E6, as an E7, as a first sergeant, as a sergeant major, you do that and your career is over. As uniformed service members, somebody that holds ranks, we have certain responsibilities. And those responsibilities do not involve you going on social media and running your suck and telling soldiers what they should be doing. I don't care if you agree with it or not. Right? This was in bad taste. This was in bad form. And looking at the comments, a lot of people agree with this dude. I get it. But a lot of those people probably aren't in the military. And if they are at the lowest level, you try to tell that colonel, that major, that captain, that general that, hey, they're fucked up and that you're not going to follow orders because of your political leanings, your career's over. It's that easy, guys. It's that easy. Let's finish this video.
I was just following orders is not a valid defense against war crimes. Grow a spine and stand up for your fellow Americans. Otherwise, you are complicit in this fascist takeover. We're running out of time.
What are your thoughts on this, guys? Right? Again, we are looking at this from a military perspective. We're looking at this from soldiers following orders, soldiers doing what they're supposed to do, and soldiers just being soldiers, right? I'm not looking at this from a political lens. Was this captain right in doing what he was doing, which is essentially telling lower enlisted soldiers that they need to disobey the orders of those appointed over them? What are you guys' thoughts on this? Because there's a follow-up video to this that he put out where he got disciplined by the DOD. They took his freaking security clearance and now he's facing the music. Right? That's what's happening to them. And what he's doing now is he's chronicling everything that's happening to him because he thought that the army wasn't a dictatorship. He thought he can go against that machine. Guys, you signed up for this. If you have strong political opinions, I'm going to tell you right now, the military is not the place for you. You're a soldier. You follow orders. That's what it's about. And if you don't want that life, then don't sign up. But do not sign up and then become an activist because you will ruin your life. That's just the reality of it. Right? Let me know what you guys think about this one, guys. Good old captain on here telling low enlisted soldiers not to follow orders, right? We'll see how that one ends for him. And in this next clip, guys, I'm calling all the leaders. I want all you guys to comment on this because this clip right here is rather disturbing, right? Let's take a look.
We're females in the Marine Corps, which means...
We're females in the Marine Corps, which means we can't get promoted unless we,
We're females in the Marine Corps, which means we're either bitches or whores. We're bitches, right?
Of course we're bitches. Do you look like a whore? Do I look like a whore? Damn.
All right, now, I know this video is made in good fun, guys, but the appearance of this is disturbing, right? It's essentially painting females within the military service, within the Marine Corps, a certain type of way. And again, guys, when it comes to what you can and can't do wearing that military uniform, I think it needs to be reinforced, right? As a leader, what would you do if you saw this video? It's essentially going through all the stereotypes, right? If you're in the Marine Corps, that means you got to be a lesbian. If you're in the Marine Corps as a female and you want to get promoted, that means you got to suck people off, right? Or if you're in the Marine Corps as a female, it means you got to be one of these derogatory terms. As a leader, what would you do if you came upon this and these are your soldiers? What would you do? As a first sergeant, guys, this is what I would do. I would pull them into my office. I would sit them down. I would counsel them. I would tell them, hey, your actions on social media, yep, I got it. It's your own personal social media page. However, that U.S. Marine that you're wearing on your uniform doesn't belong to, right? You are renting that. You are borrowing that. And the actions that you take wearing that uniform matters, right? And you will pay for said actions. I will counsel them and I will let them know, take it down or else. They don't take it down, then I escalate, right? I bring it to my captain. I speak with them. Hey, these soldiers are on here. They're not representing the Marine Corps the proper way, wearing that uniform. This is what needs to happen. Article 15, etc., etc. Because this particular video, guys, has the ability to affect recruiting. You see this video as a young woman that wants to join the Marine Corps and you see this, what are you going to be thinking, right? It's probably going to deter you from wanting to join. So even though it's in good fun and they're having fun with it, it actually affects the Marine Corps' ability to recruit people that all qualify. And fathers, I'm speaking to you guys next. You see this and this is your daughter. Like, what's that phone call going to sound like? Like, what are you telling her? Like, what are you telling her about herself and her actions on social media, right? And if you're a young man out there looking for a future wife and you see this, like, what are you thinking? I think a lot of people nowadays, especially guys and girls doing this type of dumb shit, don't realize that their actions have second and third world effects, right? This thing is going to live on the internet for forever. And they're going to have to answer to this every time somebody sees it and reach out to them, right? And they can't just say, oh, it was all in good fun. It might have been, but this is still disturbing, right? Wanted to hear you guys' feedback on this from a leadership perspective. What would you guys do if this were your soldiers on here acting in this manner, right? I appreciate you guys' feedback. Let me know. And then we'll transition into this last one, guys. Pretty interesting clip from the Shawn Ryan show. Can Gen Zs survive combat, right? Let's listen to the clip.
Do you think Gen Z can handle the intensity of combat, or the Gen Z soldiers are softer?
They're impressive, man. They don't handle failure well. When they fail at something, sometimes they emotionally crumble. And we saw candidates do that. One guy, this guy was a total stud. Class leader, class OIC. I mean, he looked like he was chiseled out of the granite of Oklahoma. Like, this guy was just a quintessential what you think of as you want as a potential SEAL officer. Class loved him, very charismatic. Everyone was running with this guy. And then on day one of first phase, he failed his first 4-mile timed run and he quit. Failed it by like 2 seconds. And he quit. We're like, what? You know, you almost want to, like, how do you rewind the clock sometimes and say, no, don't say that. But he said it. And you know how that is. You don't unring that bell. And so our coach was like, why did you do that, dude? Like, you were crushing this program. Everyone loved you. And he said, well, how can I lead men if I can't hold the standard myself? That's Gen Z in a nutshell.
What are you guys' thoughts, guys? Can Gen Zs handle combat nowadays, right? That's an interesting question, all right? And I'm a firm believer in that this generation will raise to the occasion if we ever get there, right? Because when you think about it, guys, we created Gen Z, right? We went and did all the fighting the past 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and Gen Z didn't have to, right? This is a product of what we did. But I'm also a believer in that if Gen Z has to step up to essentially answer that call, they will elevate to that standard. They will handle that fight. It's no different than back in the 1920s, right? The Roaring 20s, that generation, right? They were considered soft. And guess what? World War II happened and they became the greatest generation, right? It's no different, right? They are just raised in a different manner. They are raised in a different generation, right? The iPhone, the video games, the porn, like all that stuff, all recipes to make people soft, right? They can go on the computer and express their mind and call people out without having to deal with consequences. All of that has made them what they are today. However, push comes to shove, they're still American. They still have that grit. They still have that patriotic mindset. And if it comes to it, they will exercise their fairness. They will exercise the monster that's inside of them, right? They will show the world that they have teeth and that they could do bad things to bad people if needed, right? What are you guys' thoughts, guys? Can Gen Z survive combat? Can they go do work? Can they become monsters if they need to, right? I think they can. I believe in them. And I think if this country puts out the call, a lot of people are going to answer it and they will be successful. Appreciate you guys tuning in into this segment of the Green Beret Chronicles show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Any feedback from me is welcome, guys. Again, if you need support with anything, greenberetchronicles.com. Check out the consultation site. Also, greenberetchronicles.com/merch. Check out the shop. Grab you a few shirt out of there. And of course, darkartscoffeecompany.com. Grab a bag. 10% of everything you buy goes to the Dark Arts Coffee Foundation with the mission statement of helping homeless vets. Appreciate you guys tuning in to this segment of the show. Until next time, guys, take care of yourself.